Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm not sure how long this live is going to go for. It really depends on what's. Okay. Sorry about the echo. I didn't realize my YouTube was unmuted. Um, Again, good morning. I'm not sure how long this is going to go for. It depends how deep diving we get into some of the newer stuff that has come out about Henrietta. I changed my banner. I stand with the victims, and it's not just the victims. Good morning, Chris. Nice to see you. It's not just the victims that sadly lost their life. It's the victims that have been speaking out as well. I haven't gotten in touch with any of them, but hang on 1 second. I haven't gotten in touch with them yet, but it's definitely a workup in the process. I have been deep diving into a lot of news articles and websites and various outlets to really see how Oklahoma is structured when it comes to the law enforcement side of things. And I say that as a victim myself, not to what happened in Oklahoma, but as a victim to what Jesse did to the surviving victims in 2003. I'm a victim to that. And I think a lot of us can come together and hold hands with those victims. And I want to stop using the word victims, and I'm going to say survivors, because they are. But we can take our hands and hold their hands. And I think most of us, if not all of us, could agree that legal systems need to change. There's insufficient ways of documenting things state to state. There's insufficient ways of people handling issues that shouldn't be insufficient ways. And honestly, that's kind of a bit shocking, because the amount of insufficient evidence in articles and stuff lately has been giving so many creators a chance to run with it. And I'm not running with any of the information. I've looked deep into it. I've pulled up so much and I've looked at so much, because it honestly is very hard. And I believe there is a victim's funeral today for one of the people that passed away due to Jesse's hands. And, prayers with the family, because laying your kid down to rest it's not an easy thing to do. But with that being said, I will see if this wants to work. Doesn't look like it's going to. Give me 1 second. We will start with this one. So Fox 23 has been doing a very good job covering the case. I was looking at their breakdown of how certain SOs are classified under Oklahoma law, because it came as a shock to me. And apparently, according to this, there's 3 different levels. I've seen it everywhere. What came as a shock to me was the part that you'll see right after that says, depending on the offense, an offender must register as an SO annually for 15 years, up to every year of their life. And that's, honestly, if you ask me as a creator, as a survivor, that's not right. If you're an SO, it means that you're an SO for a very valid reason, and a very disgusting reason at that. And for an SO to be allowed to not register after 15 years, depending on the level, that's not fair. That's not fair to the victims. Surviving or not, that's not fair. And I want to make that very clear. So they say if you get a tier 3 or up to level 3, it's most serious. That's a lifetime. Anything should be a lifetime. If it is serious enough to have the label of an SO put on you, you shouldn't be allowed to not register. And if most crimes are at a level 3 in Oklahoma, then really that needs to be pushed harder. And looking at this, even like a level 2 offense, you have to register for 25 years and re-register every 6 months. Well, that's awesome. But who's keeping an eye on the people as they register? Because legally, what I can say, the people that are assigned to these cases sometimes don't stay on these cases for very long. That includes parole officers. So who's checking up on all of these people? And we will get there. And looking at this stuff, going further down, it says SO's living restrictions vary. Why do they vary? They vary state to state, that's one thing. Why do they vary time to time in a certain state? That's not fair. If laws are changing, action should be changing. And I'm a full believer in that. Looks like the sheriff said if people were convicted in 2003, there are no residency requirements. They still must register, and they have to know where they are living. Which is, residency requirements should be looked into more on Oklahoma's side of things, because if a registered SO is living with children, that should automatically be a red flag. Also, looking at this though, I skipped over the last part of the public website, and there's a reason for that. There's another article we'll look at in a few minutes. Public websites, even with highly important information, such as SO information, they're not always accurate. And I don't say that because they vary state to state. I say that because even state to state, they vary county to county. And sometimes, even people that are listed on state registries are not on the national website. And that's an issue. Going down this article, so this says that the sheriff says the best thing for families to do is know your neighborhood and know who your kids are around. That's hard to do, though, again, if not everything is kept accurate. It's not as easy as simply saying, okay, well, my son or my daughter is going to go over to these people that live right next door, and I can pull up their information on the National SO website. But if the information isn't on that site, how are you supposed to be able to pull it up? We can look at the next article. Just give me a second to figure out which one I wanted to do next. We will share the other one next since it goes right in. Give me a second to pull it up. So we're going to skip the ring ties because I want to leave that for other creators to cover. But looking at this, this really dives deep into Oklahoma. So apparently there's multiple sites to find an SO database in Oklahoma. So there's the Oklahoma Department of Corrections and also local law enforcement sites. But then from there, Tulsa and the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office have their own list. And then there are the national SO sites with citydata.com and familywatchdog.us. There's also another national website, and I can say, at least from when I checked the other day, that information, hello Silky, I'm glad you're here. Good morning. Sorry I wasn't looking at StreamYard. That information, though, about Jesse McFadden wasn't on the national website when I went to check the other day. And I know that some of the survivors have said his information was taken off as he's now deceased. So it is quite possible that I could have missed it. But it wasn't there when I checked. And that speaks volumes. Because going off of what I've heard from the survivors, it wasn't clear a cause. And even this says the person that this organization reached out to, there's nothing concrete. And that's an issue. If we have people in our areas being labeled as SOs, and that information is being made public, that somebody is an SO, anybody should be able to find that information. And that ties into the other point that I wanted to make about public information, and we will definitely get there because I think it's after this article. We'll skip videos. Such as this, like this organization went out and it even says multiple names show up on the Tulsa County website that aren't on the DOC website. Family Watchdog pulls up dozens of SOs registered at one hotel. And then the DOG website pulls up one offender for the same site. At the same time, why are registered SOs using hotels as their address? It makes perfect sense to me, being a victim, that they use it so that they can't get checked up on. But that falls into the other case. Why isn't law enforcement checking on these people that are registered? Why isn't Ellie standing up and supporting the survivors and doing what they can to get them the information that, quite honestly, they should have had already? And if it is because somebody doesn't have a permanent address, then that's even more of a reason to check up on them more. Because people might say they don't have a permanent address, but really they have somewhere. And who knows what could be happening. Because a lot of people who don't have a permanent address have a place to go. And some of those places to go involve children. A registered SO should never be allowed around children or youth without somebody supervising them. Because then we run into incidents like what's going on in Oklahoma right now. And I'll get there and why that's so important. If offenders are required to check in with law enforcement, then where is the most recent check-in that McFadden had? Where is the most recent check-in that Jesse had? Because last I've heard, Jesse was allowed to go to schools. A registered SO should not be allowed at schools unless they are in the company of their parole officer or law enforcement. And that is my opinion, but I stand by it. If what you did is serious enough to be placed on an SO list, what you did is serious enough that you shouldn't be allowed access to a school where there's thousands of children, innocent children, that could quickly become not so innocent. Going on to the next article that really drew my attention in. And I wish I was in touch with one of the survivors because I would love them to come up and further explain their point of view on all of this and what they think. And maybe that's something that I will get in the works with this. But it says the burning questions most people have asked. Where was Jesse McFadden's probation officer? According to the SDOC, aka State Department of Corrections, Jesse wasn't on probation, which makes it interesting. Yes, okay, and I'll cover that in a second, because I do think it's interesting. Let me finish this, and then I will definitely read your comment. And yeah, Chris, I see your comment too, and I will definitely get it. Give me 1 second. But he was required to check in with the Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office every 90 days. That's 3 months. 90 days is 3 months. You're telling me that nobody contacted Jesse for 3 months? Despite him having victims that lived in the area, I'm sorry, but that's unacceptable. If he has victims that are in that area, if he's related to children, it shouldn't be 90 days. That's coming from my point of view of being a victim, not Jesse, but to a very, very similar case. It's not fair to anybody. Apparently the county investigator compared the checks to playing darts, and I don't think that that's the right way to compare anything of this nature. I get it, but it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be playing darts to see the status of where somebody is, what they're doing, if they're in compliance. We shouldn't have to play darts as victims to make sure that people are safe. There shouldn't have to be more victims to an already convicted SO who did more stuff in prison and then got out early. But that's a topic for another day, because a lot of creators have been covering that. We will skip some of the other information. Originally, McFadden was convicted of art and sentenced to 20 years in 2003. That survivor of that event, she's been speaking out, and I give her props because it takes a lot, and she's fighting for a change. She's not fighting for her own story, she's fighting for the victims. He also served 8 years for grand larceny during that time, and then he was considered a level 4 inmate. And honestly, that's the fact that you get to stay on a level because of your general hygiene is really disgusting. Because an RL, an RSO, shouldn't be able to get away with what they get away with. And if general hygiene is thrown into that, anybody can do general hygiene. But if somebody knows it can get them out early, they're probably going to do it more. It goes on to say that he was bumped to level 1 in 2017 of January following his misconduct in 2016. Honestly, he should have stayed at a level 1 because of what he did. I don't call that a misconduct. I call that its own separate crime of a mess. And looking further in to this, we will skip the certain information. So, he was both things that McFadden was charged with in 2017 were considered felonies, which doesn't make sense as to how he got out early. Because if they were felonies, he shouldn't have gotten out early. Not only that, 5 months later, 5 months after McFadden was convicted of 2 serious crimes, he got out early because he completed 85% of his sentence. That's not fair. That's not fair to the victims of him. And I mean victims. I mean the people, the youth, the children, the families that have had to sit through funerals this week for their own children because an SO was let out early. And yes, I know COVID rocked our wards. It's not a reason for an RSO to get out early. I'm sorry, but it's not a reason. Furthermore into that though, if we are looking, he was sentenced in 2003 and he was received into custody in 2004. He had to serve no less than 85% of his sentence, which was a minimum of 17 years. They are also giving credit for time served within the county jails. And that's another thing that I can see how it counts, but it shouldn't count. Because again, if you are ending up in prison because of something that you did, it never, I apologize if my audio cut out there, but if you are put in prison for that, you should quite honestly stay locked up. And I'm sorry if that offends people, I really am. But coming from a survivor's point of view of all of this, he never should have been let out. Because the victims that are victims now wouldn't have been victims. And let me just make sure that my audio is working. Give me 1 second. Hold with me for 1 second. It looks like it is working. Let me finish this article, Silky, and I will definitely read your message. So, he was not put on probation, but he was required to check in with the sheriff's office every 90 days, in which he was quote-unquote compliant. I don't believe that. I don't believe that McFadden was compliant. Because if McFadden was compliant, somebody, somewhere, would have caught this before it got to the point where he had additional victims. And it's very disheartening that somebody is labeled as being incompliant. And this says, an Okmulgee County Sheriff's investigator painted a different picture last week. Justin Weber, who is the father of one of the victims, asked the investigator who's supposed to be checking on the SO. The investigator then responded and said it's public record. It's not public record if you have insufficient websites with insufficient information. And I say that because how can it be public record if websites have different answers? It's not fair. And so Justin then says, so nobody is supposed to come and do checks. The investigator responded and said, we do compliance checks, but it's like throw a dart, see which we're going to do, because that's all the resources we have to do. That's not fair. You can't throw compliance checks like darts. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. You can't throw compliance checks like darts. Everybody should be in compliance. I know they're not, but they should be. And if there's not enough resources, then let's work to pass bills to fight that. Let's work to pass laws to prevent things like this happening. It's not just in LE either. There's not enough resources in CPS too. But that's a whole different topic for me to get on that doesn't involve Oklahoma. There's not enough resources, and I fully understand that. And I know since COVID started that a lot of the major organizations lost a good amount of people for one reason or another. But there's no saying. I haven't seen anything from McFadden's parole officer put out of the last time anybody actually made contact with McFadden. Which is kind of scary, to be honest. Because if there was nobody checking up, then how do we know more stuff didn't happen at that house? And also, insufficient documentation, and I meant to say this earlier, insufficient documentation across websites means that the survivors that McFadden has are being let down because they don't know who else is in their area that could do, as hard as it is to say, that could also be involved with McFadden. There's no telling because websites are insufficient. County-ran websites by county-ran officials are insufficient. National government websites are insufficient. And it's not like we're looking national country to national country. We're looking at the country's websites, and they're insufficient, and that's not good. Further looking at this is interesting, and I want to talk to one of the survivors about it. There's 200 plus copies of letters and journals written by McFadden to his second victim. And I want to talk to the victim, but she's not a victim, she's a survivor. I want to talk to her, but I'm going to let her come to us. I don't force survivors to talk unless they want to talk. And I'm going to let her come up as she is ready. Further looking at this, let's see. Let me just make sure there's nothing else in this that I want to pull up for you guys. Thompson told KFOR RSOs such as Jesse are allowed to live with their own children and stepchildren as long as they are not a victim of the offender. However, they are supposed to notify Oklahoma Department of Human Services if they do. I'm sorry, but as I said earlier, if you are an SO, if you're an RSO, you shouldn't be allowed to live with your children because you can churn on them. And for all of those who say it's not possible, it's very possible. Let's go back to looking. So there's no additional information on that. I wanted to pull up one other thing, I think. Just give me 1 second to further look at it before I pull it up because I want to make sure that I pull up the correct thing for you guys. I don't want to share inaccurate information. Let's see. Let's look. I just want to make sure that there is nothing additional. That I can share with you guys. So there was a statement released from the Oklahoma Borough. Give me a second to look at something real quick. I agree, Silky. I agree. Give me a second to pull up. I want to make sure that I list the correct creators that have been covering this. So give me 1 second. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Yeah. It's very scary. And I'll get into some of it in a minute. But the fact that the own survivors of this case don't have proof of where other people that were friends with McFadden, if they are even registered, I feel bad for them. I know they are speaking out for the victims. I know they are speaking out for the children. But I feel bad for them. They should at least know who McFadden was friends with. Not friends within the prison. Friends with outside of prison. And if any of them are registered. I'm going to post a link. That is to Evil CJ's channel. He covered the statement that was released. Go give him a look out about it. It looks like I want to make sure that there's, I believe, I thought Alex Erickson had covered this, but I'm not seeing it on her page. I'll drop her link anyways. Go ahead and give her a like, a follow. Shout her out. She does awesome job with this case. I just thought, I thought she had covered this. She is working very hard on this case, and now that I think about it, I believe I know the other two creators that are currently covering this. Let me go ahead and look. Actually, did they not put it up? It might not have been put up. Doesn't look like it was. So they shared a link. The Decipher podcast shared a link from Kate Does Crime. Kate Does Crime and Decipher have been talking hands-on. Yeah, not hands-on. I apologize. They have been talking really straight through with the family, and that's super important. They've been talking with the survivors as well, and honestly, it's amazing because they agree. It's so helpful that somebody is actually caring about the survivors of this. And I'm going to put out, maybe. There you go. That's Kate Does Crimes link. I want to pull up, and hopefully they don't strike me for it. I don't think they should. I know them. I did not ask. But there is a tribute video put out through Decipher podcast for two of the victims. It is on their Facebook, and I will link and drop their Facebook as well. And then I actually want to Code Truth has done it too. Thank you, CJ. I did not know that. That is a long link. I can't. That is not what I needed. Give me 1 second, because this is not working the correct way. I will post Code Truth's link in 1 second. Hang on a second. There was a tribute video. Oh, I found it. So I want to pull these up, and we will watch them as soon as I drop Cold Truth's link. Let me make sure I did not. I'm going to drop the Decipher podcast community link as well, just so people can subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, give her a shout out. I just closed what I needed to pull up for you guys. Hang on. Cold Truth. Cold Truth did one. I will get you her link if I can find it. Let me see here. Cold Truth. I promise I am looking for what we're trying to find. Cold Truth is covering the case, it looks like. I was looking to see if she had a specific thing up. She does not. I will share her link. And then give me a second to pull these two things up, and we can give them a shout out and really look in, because I think it's important to advocate for the victims as well. I know you guys can't see this. So this is from the funeral home. Once I share it, this is for Ivy. I want to share it. I'll post the links to them in chat for you all, and then I promise we can have an actual discussion. That's Ivy's. Let me stop sharing my screen and reshare my screen for you guys. Give me 1 second, actually, to make sure that I shared that the correct way. Okay, I did. We're good.
The day we met, frozen, I held my breath right from the start.
I muted the video for copyright reasons just so we don't hopefully get struck. I don't want to get struck showing something with such beautiful victims of this case. And I say beautiful in a way to say none of these victims, funeral video up or not, and I'm going to stop sharing because I don't want to share too much of that. But victim or not, They didn't deserve this. Survivor or not, they didn't deserve what Jesse did. Going on to say, if you are a creator and you are covering this case, please, from the bottom of my heart as a survivor, not of Oklahoma, but of something quite close, make sure the information you are sharing is accurate. And if you're not sure it's accurate, please have links so people can verify what you're saying. It helps so much. It's not creators' fault. There's misinformation going around. Media outlets are putting things in and taking them out left and right. But as a creator, we can help by providing stuff. Go the extra mile. I like to say, if survivors have enough strength and courage to speak out, then we as creators, should be offering a safe place, which I didn't share my normal side. This is a safe space for everybody. But also, we as creators should not be afraid to go above and beyond for these survivors. I'm not saying give them money. I'm not saying force them up on your panel. I'm not saying do this, this, and this. No. All I'm asking, if you run into a survivor in chat or on panel, be respectful to them. They're going through their own stuff. It's hard for them. I can't say I know exactly how hard it is, but it's hard. And all they're asking for is a little bit of respect and kindness. That's the same thing with the families of the victims of this case. If you're going to talk about the families, please don't make it all negative. Let's leave Holly, the wife, let's leave her name out of conversation until things have been confirmed. It's not appropriate, it's not right to victim shame her. We don't know if she was a part of this or not. We don't know if she didn't catch the signs. And if McFadden wasn't checking in with his probation officer, she may not have known. It's not right for any true crime or crime creator to put Holly's name out there and say stuff and not have proof. That is 100% true, Silky. She may have been a victim too. For all we know, true crime creator-wise, we should be treating each and every person, with the exception of Jesse, but we should be treating each and every victim, other than him, as a victim. I get it. Families are arguing. I get it. I really, really do. But just because families are arguing is not a reason for true crime creators to use news article headlines in their live titles. It's not fair to the families. I will be the first to admit, was Justin's interview on TV the other day a little harsh? Yeah. But you have to look at it from a place of grieving, a place of loss. And if you as a creator have never lost somebody, I get that it might be a little bit hard. But let me clear that up for you. Let's look at this from a place of grieving, place of grief. Justin is grieving. He's grieving the loss of his child. I'm going to throw this out there. One of the hardest things a parent ever goes through is losing their own child. It is a pain that never goes away. It is a reminder that is constantly there. It is a reminder when holidays come up that they no longer have their children. A child should not pass away before their parents, before their legal guardians. And when they do, it is the most amount of pain that anybody could ever think of. And to the true crime creators that are trying to relate to this, but have never actually lost anybody, please, in the nicest way possible, don't try and relate to something if you can't relate to it. I say that from a fact of I've lost people. I'm also a survivor. It's not right. It makes it harder. There are awesome creators covering this case. I'm not going to share their personal information, but there are amazing creators who have gone through leaps and hurdles, who are inviting the survivors up on panel. And I give kudos to them because they treat the survivors so nicely. They don't post Hallie's picture in their titles. Well, not their titles, but their previews. And I think that is so important. Because as of now, at least on this channel, at least with me, wherever I go chat-wise, Hallie's a victim to me. Until I see an article from a credible source, or I hear something from one of the survivors themselves say otherwise, Hallie will always be a victim on this channel. I welcome everybody's opinions. I welcome those who might not agree that Hallie's a victim. You're allowed here. You're respected here. But please, do not victim bash. Going back to what we were talking about earlier that I said I would get to, that we slightly got distracted. Selkie said, I don't know what is going on in Oklahoma. Around here, you get in a lot of trouble if you are not registered. I wish I could say what was going on. I don't know how their tier system is set up there, and honestly, it angers me for the survivors of this, that it's set up the way it is, because my one event happened in a different country. And, you know, that person lost access to so much. I mean, he became an RSO because of what he did. And he lost access to technology. McFadden still had access to technology. And it just makes you wonder. Yep. Because even if McFadden was registered, right? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, and he was registered. I still don't see why he was allowed in schools. Because it doesn't make sense. Good morning, Ruckus. I'm sorry, I was reading comments and did not see your comment. Nice to have you here. There are a few creators that I would love to have up on panel to get some more information from, get you guys a bit more information. I have been working behind the scenes. It's taken a little bit of time, and if you are not into drama, you can skip ahead for the next 10 minutes, or you can mute, or you can leave and come back. But honestly, I was debating whether or not to even keep this channel up. For those who don't know, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes, and it's resulted in me being called a liar. And a few other terms that I will not throw out here. But it's resulted in me being called a liar. And it makes it hard to cover true crime cases when you have that label being put on you by other creators. Because people hear that and they don't want to come. And I want to make that very clear. What I cover on Oklahoma and what I've covered is not a lie. I can get you links to whatever you want, as long as I know where I got it from. I'm willing to do any of that. All I ask is that on my channel, if you have an issue with me, there's so many people that I'm in touch with. Reach out to one of them. Have them get you in touch with me, or have them let me know what's going on. I'll be more than okay to talk to you. But please, let's leave the negative words out in the nicest possible way. I know what I am, even if other people don't. A liar is not one. And with all that's going on true crime-wise right now, we as creators don't need to be constantly bashing other creators. And I'll leave it at that. But, this Oklahoma case has, I think, gotten a lot of creators wrapped up in it. I've talked to a few creators, well, I've watched a few creators' lives of creators that have been up till 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning, talking to the survivors, doing live streams, getting people credible information. I personally have been up till 1 in the morning the past couple nights, trying to fit pieces together in this. Trying to pull credible information for all of you so that we have it, so we can fall back on it. And I'm going to get in touch with the creator and see when their timeline's been developed, if we can borrow it so that I can get it for you guys. Because I think having a timeline, even before all this stuff happened. Thank you, Ruckus. I appreciate that. So as Ruckus says, and I'll drop Ruckus's link after I pull it up real quick. Give me a second. I did have it up, and then I took it down. Let me drop Ruckus's link though. If you do have an issue with me, you can reach out to the link I just dropped in chat. I'm not saying it's anybody here. Please don't take it that way. But what I will say, as an honest and open creator, there are creators out there. There are also other people tied to this one certain creator that haven't been the nicest. If you have an issue with me, if you have an issue with me, per se, not having receipts after being told not to take receipts, if you have an issue with me saying what I say, please speak up about it, but speak up nicely. I will be completely honest right now and say I have no more room for people that want to sit and watch my videos and run back to other people. And I have no more room for people who do things behind the scenes. And when I think not to screenshot things and not to keep people's names to protect their privacy, then I get told that I'm a liar. And I won't stand for it anymore. If you're a creator and you have a Discord server, use it responsibly. That's what I'm going to say. I get it. Some of us have mods. Well, we all have mods. But some of us are close to our mods I get it. I'm not saying I don't. It's okay to be close to your mods. What's not okay, and what I don't support, is going to mods with personal information, pictures, states somebody's phone number goes back to, information that maybe your subscribers shared that shouldn't have been ran with. It's not okay to share that privately, even with your mods, unless you get permission of that subscriber. And one day, not this live, because what I'm talking about goes back to the Oklahoma case eventually, but eventually I'll share what I do have. It's not much. There's no names involved, but I might put it out there. I don't give names of those who are bothering me unless I talk to a few people very privately about it, because it is an open space. You can go where you want. Just because a creator doesn't like me doesn't mean they might not like you. But with that being said, I won't stand for creators telling people false things about me. I don't stand for creators' mods telling other people false things about me. If you are going to call out your subscribers as a creator, you should do it to their face. And I'm being honest about that. If you have an issue with one of your subscribers, either call it out to them through their face and ask them to come up and have a chat with you, or reach out to them privately. Don't put public information out there. Well, let me rephrase that. Don't put private information out there for the public to see. You don't know what somebody's backstory is. And I say that because I don't know what these survivors are putting out fully to other creators. They deserve to be treated with respect and privacy. And even if it's something to a creator that might not seem like a big deal, it could give out some personal information, and that's not fair to them. As a survivor myself, I can say the state that my phone number linked back to was put out by a creator who has done other things in the past, and I'll leave it at that. And that alone was enough to make me say, hey, stop. And I want to make sure that people know that that's a word you can use when talking about cases. You can say stop. You can say no. You, as a creator, can say, I fully accept and approve, well, not even approve. I fully accept other people's opinions, or I fully accept other people wanting to talk about X, Y, and Z. However, on my live or on my channel, I don't do this. For instance, what I said earlier, I fully accept people who have differing opinions. However, give me a second, I apologize. However, on my channel, I do not, and will not as a creator, blame Holly, the mother, as a cause of what happened. I will never use Holly's name, the mother and the survivor, in a negative way. Because at the end of the day, even if Holly had something to do with this, Holly, the mother, had something to do with this, her family's still grieving her. Not only that, Her family's grieving her children. As of now, Holly, the mother, is a victim. In my eyes. And you can have a respectful conversation in my chat if you don't think that's true. And I won't bash you for it. I just can't have victim bashing. Or I will bash you. In the nicest way possible. Of saying, hey, I get it. I'm not up for having this right now. And I'll leave it at that. And thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Messages are coming in out of order. If I had the strength right now, the courage to show everybody what was said, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because I want my subscribers to know that not everything creators say is 100% factual. But I can't at the moment. What I can say, though, let me pull it up so that I can make sure that I am quoting the exact words. What I can say is I was told by a creator that I am making myself look like a victim. And what I can say in response to that publicly, if you don't know my story, you don't know the struggles I've been through, you didn't watch the video of my story, you haven't talked to people who know what I've been through, please do not say that I am not a victim. It's okay, Silky. There's creators that have been very supportive the past couple days. Some I haven't reached out to yet. Some I'm sure have emailed me and I haven't seen their emails. Some I'm sure have sent me messages on Facebook and I haven't gotten back to you. Or I look at them and I don't respond right away. None of that is on purpose. I've been struggling to figure things out, and sometimes with that comes me reading messages and not knowing how to respond. I guess that's really it. There's stuff going on behind the scenes and labels are being placed and things are being said that never should be said. And as honest of a creator as I am about, I want to keep my channel drama free. I also want to be open with my subscribers and say, hey, if you hear this, reach out. Because I'll be the first person, if somebody does tell you it, I'll be the first person to come back and say, that's not who I am. And I'll give you a list of people that you can reach out to that have a neutral opinion of me. And I'll say you can reach out to these people. And I'll let those people give my subscribers opinions of me. Because that's what I'm okay with doing. And honestly, if you do come across something, I ask respectfully, wait to at least 2 hours before sending it to me if it's about me. I don't even want to see it. I haven't looked on YouTube for things relating to certain things lately because I don't want to come across it. But if you do, wait 2 hours before sending it to me if it's a new one, because I'm trying. I've apologized to the person multiple times behind the scenes. I've apologized to this person in front of one of their former mods. I've done what as a creator is the right thing to do. So I try what I am going to say. If you're going to put another creator's name in your mouth and you're going to accuse them of things, make sure that what you are accusing them of, you have the full story of. That's what I'll say. And with that, if you're throwing survivors' names and things out there, make sure that you know, A, that they're okay with you using their name, which is why we did not use their names in this live. B, they're okay with you sharing what you're sharing, which is why I did not share things that the survivors have said specifically. Don't force them up on panel. And for their interest, let's make sure that the titles of our live streams, the titles of our videos, the titles of our shorts are not just pulled from news articles. Because so much information has been put out and redacted and put out and redacted and put out and changed. News articles at this point are not fully credible. And using news titles is not a good way to run your channel as a true crime creator. It gets you likes, it gets you views, but it doesn't get the right information put out. And with that being said, if you haven't already hit the like button, please do so. My Nightbot is broken, we all know. If you haven't seen my other lives, you know now. My Nightbot is broken, have not gotten around to fixing it, so Nightbot does not prompt people. But if you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed and you like what I do, you like what I say, please subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. I don't ask for much. I'll never have memberships set up. All I ask is if you like it, please subscribe. Please make sure your notifications are on. If you ask anybody from my prior lives, they'll say, I don't always know when I'm going live. It's the truth. I said to myself I wasn't going live this month, but here we are. Leave a comment, please. I'd greatly appreciate it. All I ask, if you're leaving a comment, don't include negative names in it and no victim bashing. That's all I ask. You can leave comments of support. You can leave comments to the survivors that I can make sure to get to them. Just don't victim bash. If you've been, I don't think it happened in this live, but if you posted too many emojis and you got timed out, I apologize. Nightbot has a mind of its own sometimes. It's broken. It's on the list of things for my channel that I need to fix for you all, and I have not gotten to it. With that being said, I have a few creators that I need to get in touch with for the Oklahoma case, a few creators that I owe responses to, and I'm deeply apologize for not responding to you. And a few creators that I just need to get in touch with. So I have a busy morning planned. But I will definitely reach out. I'll keep in touch. If you are here and you are a creator, you know how to get in touch with me for the most part, unless you are a brand new creator. All I ask, with that being said, is if you do get reached out to by somebody with information about me, please let me know before giving them any of my ways to get in contact with me. Just for my own sake, so I know who has what, it definitely helps. I guess that's about it. I'm gonna leave this going for a few minutes so people can ask any final questions they have about Oklahoma. And then from there, I will give my shout out. I will end the live temporarily because I have things that I need to do. But if you do have a chance, check out any of the links that I dropped. Evil CJ Decipher Podcast, Kate This Time, Alex Erickson, Ruckus, Cold Truth. I did not drop Silky Southern Tea's link, but I will for you. She just did a live. I accidentally missed your live, Silky. I'll catch it on replay. It's definitely something that I saw. I just definitely accidentally fell asleep. Chris, I'll get back in touch with you. We can talk at some point. I'm not sure when, but I will get in touch. I think that's about it. So, if there's no other Oklahoma questions, I will say drop your questions in comments. I'll catch them in comments, but I'm going to end the live, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day. That's how my lives are too, Sophie. I completely get it.